and welcome back to my channel. First up, apologies if you can hear the fan. It is a heatwave day in the UK today. We're going to get to 35 degrees. I can't exist without a fan. Today's vlog is going to be MCM Birmingham, the weekend just gone, and my sit down review, thoughts about the event and how it went for me as somebody who has traded there for the second time. First up, I will say I didn't film as much in public as I wanted to because I was a little embarrassed, which is stupid because there were so many people filming there. But I just felt really old and I don't know, I didn't do as much as I wanted to. It's something that I really... So this is my second time vending at MCM Birmingham. My first time was November last year and that was only my second ever con. I booked this event this year when I booked London's May event way back earlier on in the year, so I've had it booked and in the diary for quite a while now. And I was also I was interested to see how it went because obviously I had a relatively direct comparison of the event previously, the event from 2025. There were some things that changed. Obviously last year in 2025 the event was in November. This year, because of a date clash with booking the NEC, they had moved the con forward to August, which I was initially a bit skeptical about. I did debate whether or not I should take it because I was like, oh, it's the summer holidays. I was just like, are people going to be going to cons because it's the middle of the summer? How's it going to be? How's it going to go? And overall, myself and my husband decided that we would go for it. We would take our daughter with us, and it could be her first con experience, and that we would just kind of like make a little weekend of it. This video is going to be my honest thoughts and opinions, both good and bad, about the event. I do these for events that I have done previously. They have then backfired on me and I've then not got into those events in future, but MCM are so big they don't care. I would just like to share my what I like to feel is constructive feedback, and I try to give my feedback not in an emotive way because events and the amount of money that you spend at them can be hugely emotive, but to try and give the feedback in a way that is useful and constructive can help people make a decision about whether or not they want to attend the event or vend at the event. So that's just my little disclaimer. All right, first up I will go with like just how the event went physically, like set up and ins and outs and this and that for me. I personally really like events at the NEC. I live in Bristol. The NEC is not that far. I find getting where you need to go and the security and everything really, really helpful. I know where I'm going, which takes the anxiety off of me when I get somewhere. I really like that. I like the fact that you get your parking included. I find that setup is easy, other than the fact the aircon's never on because you've got the roller doors open and you get a bit hot, but on the whole, I like the setup process, and the breakdown process. I find it works better than it has done at other events that I have been to. I had a retailer spot this year, so I had a 3x3 metre space and I was doing a different setup that I had ever done before. I did get to con and realise I'd left the connectors for my grids in Bristol, which was a minor flaw because I didn't have the option to do anything without my grids. So my husband did the round trip back to Bristol to pick up the connectors and then come back so I could set up. And because it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday con, the amount of time you have to set up on a Friday morning is not very long at all. So I needed to use as much of the time as I could on Thursday to be as set up as I possibly could. So Nathan went back to get my grid connectors. I did as much as I could without the grids to put together, and then we stayed bang on until 8 o'clock until they basically told us that we had to leave because that was the time they wanted everybody out on Thursday. And then I came back about 8 a.m. on Friday morning to do the last bits of setup before the con opened at 10, and I managed it. I'm going to insert here a video that I took of my stall because I'm genuinely so proud of it. It was my best stall setup that I think I have ever done. It is my biggest stall setup that I have ever done, and it became my vision. Exactly as I imagined in my head what my stall would look like is what it looked like on the day, and that never happens. And I was so pleased with myself. I had planned it all out. I knew exactly what was going where, exactly how things were going. Even with my little stress from not having everything that I needed with me, it still came out exactly as I imagined, and I was so happy with it. So I'm going to insert that clip here so that you can see. So that was my layout. I was in hall 5 of the convention. The MCM Birmingham this time was in hall 3A, 4 and 5. 3A and 4 connect really nicely. 5 is down a flight of stairs and like off to the side from 4, which was a bit, I didn't know where I was going to be. You never know where you're going to be at an MCM event really until you get there. You get your map a little bit before and it tells you what your placement is, but you don't actually, until you're physically there and you see, you know what it's going to be like. When I got the map through, I was genuinely so happy because I was in the hall with Artist Alley. Normally, I'm in the traders hall and then you're amongst all the AI slop and the resellers and me and my little everything handmade, hand-drawn, homemade brand feels really out of place, and nobody, like, you get an awful lot of comments saying, oh, did you draw this as this AI? Do you use AI? And you're like, no, I'm a real artist. So I was in the hall with Artist Alley, which is the first MCM I've ever been in the same hall as Artist Alley. So I was so happy and I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in Artist Alley hall and I'm right by autographs. I was like, maybe I could have a really, really good con. No, I didn't know. I didn't have a bad con. I had a good con. I will run through my stats and my figures a bit later on. Overall, I did have a good con. It just wasn't as good as I felt it could have been for the fact that I'm a year further on. My products are a year further on. I'm known a little bit more, but I'll get to that. So when I set up, I mean, I didn't know. It took me a little while to work out that you had to go up a massive flight of stairs to get to hall 4. And I did think, that's strange. I wonder where like the access points are going to be to get into the con. Then I realised I was physically the furthest possible point you could be from the queue hall. Literally as far away from the queue hall as you could possibly get is where my table was. But I was like, that's fine. If people are coming for autographs, there were some names of people there that I actually knew. I was like, if people are coming for autographs, maybe, you know, maybe they're gonna, then they'll come down and do the autographs and then walk back up through the con the other way. You never know how things are going to go until they have been. Overall, Friday was weird. Friday was the last MCM I did last year. My takings were the same every day. They were within about £20 to each other every single day. It was even across the board. So I didn't have that Friday's dead, Sunday's dead. I took the same every day, which was fine. I was, like I said, I was really, really new to the con scene, only my second event. I was happy with it. That was fine. This time my Friday was so quiet, like so quiet. I was 20% down on my takings from last year on the Friday. And that's like a year further on and this, that and the other. Like I just didn't feel that there was a lot of people around on Friday, which I don't know. There might have been a lot of people around in other rooms, but they just weren't making it to the bit of the con that I was at. But that's fine. I did what I always do at con when it's quiet. I make loads of, I just hammer socials. I put loads and loads and loads of videos and carousels and things out on socials to say, hey, I'm here. This is what I've got. And I did that a lot on the Friday because it was quite quiet. So there was a lot of time in between people coming into the stand, which did massively help on the Saturday. So then the Saturday was a lot busier and I took 50% more than I did last year's Saturday, which was fab and was amazing. It's kind of what I hoped it would be on the Friday. I was kind of hoping to do better every day. That was great. Other people that I know at con said that the Saturday busyness was what Friday would normally be. So it wasn't like a Saturday busy, it was a Friday busy, even though it was on a Saturday. Irrelevant, I met some amazing people. My sales had increased, so I was really happy with that because that was more than it was last year. And my goal is always, always, always to do better than myself the previous year. I'm not competing with anybody else. I want to do better than I have done at events previously if I have been at an event before. I was happy with that. I had loads of people show up from social media, which did come with the caveat, oh my God, I couldn't find you. But my socials did bring people to my stand on Saturday and Sunday, which I was really, really grateful for, like incredibly grateful for. I had some amazing conversations with people. It was good vibes. Like my store was really good vibes. I had a great time. And then Sunday was also quiet. It was like Friday level of quiet, but not Friday sales level of quiet. I took basically £1 off what I took the year before on the Sunday, which was fine. But overall, across the weekend, despite the fact that Friday had been lower on sales and Saturday had been higher on sales, I ended up out about 12, I think I've put up my spreadsheet here, 12% up on sales from last year, which was fab because my goal is always to beat myself. One thing to note was I had less transactions this year though. So even though my sales were up and my value was up, I had less transactions. And that is because I noticed that people were spending, they were buying bigger amounts this year. And I noticed that I had a lot of people who were coming back and saying, oh, I saw you at MCon. Oh, I saw you at MCM London. Oh, I saw you here. Oh, I saw you here. And then they were coming back and then they were buying more than they had brought when they had seen me at those events, which I assume comes from the trust that you build up with your community. Is like the first time that they buy from you, they're not really sure, and then when they use the products and they like them and then they come back, that's kind of what I figured. But that was a change for me because I normally sell a large amount of low volume items, but this time I sold much less low volume items than I would do normally, and an awful lot more higher volume items that I don't typically sell as many of. So I would say typically at most events, die cut stickers make up 50% of my revenue. They make up a huge amount of my revenue. But this year they did not. I've got my spreadsheet from comparing last year to this year. This year I sold under half of the amount of stickers that I sold last year. And they are normally my biggest sales. They are always, every event I do, I sell so many stickers. But I didn't this year. So I don't know if that's the layout that I had, if I was still using my sticker stand that I've had for a few years now, when I had kind of like built my rest of my stall up like a shop. Maybe it was a bit out of place. Maybe people just weren't vibing with my stickers. I don't know, that was strange. My husband and I both commented on that, saying we normally sell way more die cut stickers than we're selling at this event. I wonder what's going on. But other products that I wouldn't normally sell as many of, for example, blankets, I only took 6 blankets and my display blankets with me, and I sold 5 blankets, and that's because my husband sold one of my display blankets because somebody wanted a Buffy blanket and I didn't have any more Buffy blankets, so he was like, oh, I wasn't at the store, so he sold the display, which is fine. I have to make another one. Overall, I know there was just a big increase in the things that people were buying, so it like shifted from stickers being one of my low valued items to my the next stage up item. So I sold last year at MCM, I sold 1 notebook. This year I sold 15, so that's a big difference. Blankets, I sold a lot. T-shirts, I changed the way that I displayed my T-shirts. I had them all out so you could physically see the styles, you could touch them, you could get see what you wanted, and with them hanging on display at the top. That made a big difference in T-shirt sales. So I sold an awful lot more T-shirts this year than I would do normally. But I sold a lot less baby vests than I did at previous events. So it all swings and roundabouts, you don't really know. But overall, I was genuinely happy with the sales that I made. I did better than I did last year. Would I have liked to have done slightly better? Yes. Every con I set myself a goal, and if I hit that goal, that's I get to buy a Funko Pop from the con for my little collection. It's just a silly little thing that I do. I didn't get near my Funko Pop goal, so I didn't buy one this con. I'm in 2 minds about whether or not I do the event again, because the first year I did it, it cost me £540 for a retailer pitch, which was at that time the highest amount I paid for a table. But I felt okay, fine, it's the NEC, that's not too bad. This year there was a screw up with the pricing, and this has been covered on loads of people's socials. But the amount that I paid, because I booked so early, was different to some people who only booked their con in the last month or so, which I'm very grateful for. Had I booked at the new price, I would not have been a happy bunny. So I paid £324 for my table this year, which was fab because that was less than last year. So I was like, great, maybe they found a way to say, they've moved the dates, it's not as busy at the NEC, it's cheaper, whatever. So that's great. Then MCM emailed everybody and said, oh no, we charged you all the wrong price. It should have been 648. 540 increase to 648 is huge, absolutely massive. Had I been told the table was 648 when I was offered the table, I don't think I would have done it. I don't know how they can justify that price increase it's not even a physical calendar year. It's November to August. That was too much of a price increase for me. And at the rate the MCM events are going and how much they increase their prices, I'm assuming next year's event is going to be even more than 648, in which case I'm being priced out. I won't apply for retailers. I will just apply for Art Style and probably not get in, because I can't justify that much, plus hotels, or if I don't hotel, a very, very, very large amount of travel, adding more stress. I can't justify it. So I was very grateful that I got the screw up price this year. Very grateful. I would not be a happy bunny if I had spent £650 on my stall. That is one of the things that I fed back after every single MCM that I have been to say you needed something in between Artist Alley and retailers, because I don't my stock doesn't qualify for Artist Alley. I draw it all myself, I do it all myself, I make it all myself, but because it's not paper-based, not all of my stock is paper-based, I don't qualify for Artist Alley. In comparison, an Artist Alley table is about £250. So £250 compared to £650 is a very, very, very big difference. And I would cope with just one table if I could get into Artist Alley. But the products I sell don't qualify. Therefore, I have to go for retailers, and therefore the price is significantly more. So yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling I will be priced out of MCM next year. I will have to have a serious conversation with my husband about whether or not we think it is worth it, because I'm not sure, because in a whole other year I will have been doing this for even longer and be even better, and hopefully have even more people who know who I am and what I do, and then still be staking what would be comparably a very similar level of takings. It wouldn't be justifiable. So we shall see. We shall see if you see me next year. As always seems to happen for me at cons, my socials get a little bit of attraction, which is amazing, because then people find me, people follow me, which helps my online presence, and people come to find me at con, and we have the most amazing conversations about Buffy and X-Files and Firefly and so many things, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And I don't know what it is. I never used to like making content. I genuinely hated making content. And it would be one of those, I just did it because you had to do it as a small business. But I would say since just before London MCM in May this year, something just like clicked, and I enjoy making content, and I enjoy posting content, and I enjoy gauging on social media, and that has obviously made a big difference and has helped. But yeah, I don't in the morning, I don't go, oh, I've got to do socials today. I'm like, right, okay, I'm going to do socials today. What shall I do today? And like, I really, really enjoy it. And I do think that helps, and I do think that comes across. I am also really enjoying YouTube. I do have some big imposter syndrome about YouTube. I'm going to cover a couple of the negatives from con. They weren't negatives about my stall or attendees or me or anything, like just the general running of the con, which I think actually I probably only had 3. The first one was the toilets. In Hall 5, they only opened 1 block of toilets. As a woman, who you always have to queue in the women's toilets, and it's a pain, because there was only 1 block of toilets open in the whole of the hall. The queues were actually insane. Last year at MCN, they had turned the men's into gender neutral toilets, so you had the women's and the gender neutral, which was amazing, because I would just use whichever one was quieter. But they didn't do that this year. I don't know why. My husband did say the toilets in where we were located in Hall 5 had urinals in, whereas last year we were in Hall 4, I think, and they didn't have urinals in. So maybe that was the difference. I don't know. But that made a really big difference. Every time I needed the bathroom, I had to walk all the way across to Hall 3 to save me queuing in. Some people were queuing like 45 minutes to pee, and I was like, I can't wait that long. So that was a big downside. I don't know if that was MCM. I don't know if that was the NEC. I don't know what. There just didn't seem to be enough planning around the toilets. Every time my husband went to the loo, he was in and out, because there's never a queue in the men's. But that is just how it goes. The second thing, which I feel like I'm missing something here, like I don't understand and I just don't get it. But why are there wrestling rings at cons? Why is this a thing? I'm going to need somebody to explain this to me, because I don't get it. So I wasn't located close to the wrestling ring in Hall 5. But oh my God, was it loud. Every time they were like body slamming each other, you could hear it at the back end of the hall where I was. So I feel really sorry for the people that were right next to it. And the third thing was a bit of a mixture of the NEC, I think, and MCM. The doors to our hall weren't open fully. Which I think because they had a staffing, there seemed to be like less of a staffing issue, and a group of artists had gone and complained and say you need to open the doors to Hall 5. You can't physically get, like, people aren't finding us because they're not getting in. So fair play to them. They did open the doors more on the other 2 days. but the security guards didn't seem very happy about it, and there was a lot of shouting at people to show you wristbands. I don't care, I'm a vendor, I just walk in and out, I wave my arm in the air and just walk through. But yeah, it wasn't, the tone for it wasn't quite there. But I'm guessing that they were a bit stressed that they hadn't planned on having those doors open as much as they did, and then they had to. I don't know. So those were realistically the three things that I found a bit meh about the con. I personally like the new parking thing where you get your, as a retailer, you get your parking included, you get a code, you fill in a form, you get registration, and it covers you for setup and after the con as well. So I actually really like that about the NEC I think you book the event space, which is Friday through Sunday, and then you get 72 hours before the con and 48 hours after the con to park your car, which if you're travelling, you're coming from further, if you need to make it into a bit of a holiday, I personally think that's fab. I like that. We didn't get Wi-Fi this time, whereas I'm pretty sure last year we did get Wi-Fi. Didn't matter to me. I didn't use the NEC free Wi-Fi or anything. I had full on 5G signal. I had no problems. I didn't have any transactions dropping. I had no issues on my phone. My daughter was watching Crunchyroll on her phone the whole time, just on data. Like, the signal was fantastic. I had no issues at all, which is something I know some people have big issues with, but I had no problems. That was brilliant. Other than there being slightly less people about, on the whole, I had a good con. It was fun. My daughter really enjoyed it. We did a stamp rally. We did a little Ditto stamp rally, and we completed it. So we got a little bag, and one of the things that came in it was this little Ditto phone charm. So that's been on my phone since I got it, because I stole that. I was like, I paid for all your bits to win the stamp, to complete the stamp rally. I was like, I get a little prize, so I got that. I have come away with so many ideas about products and things that I want to make. Just brimming with, like, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. So overall, I had a really nice con weekend. It just didn't meet my expectations, but I'm starting to think maybe I set my expectations too high. I'm not going to lie. I have high expectations, and then when they don't get to them, I feel like it's because I'm crap. But I'm starting to think that's just a me problem. I am genuinely starting to think that's just a me problem. I love my business. I genuinely love my business, and I adore what I do, and I adore what I make. And when people come up to my stall and they love it too, it makes me so happy. And then when they come back to my stall to see what is new and what I have done different between events, it's just like, oh wow, which does make me think I need to do more in between events. So like, a lot of this year has just been the same products at each event, because I don't know, I've run out of time, I've run out of motivation. I'm not gonna lie, the heat we've had this summer has killed me. Heat pressing before MCM was not for the weak. It was like living in Satan's ballsack. It was awful, and that hasn't helped with my motivation to do things. But I am really motivated. I've got so many ideas and so many things I want to do. I just need to make the sales to have the money to do the things I want to do, but that's a whole other video. How long? I have been talking for 30 minutes. This isn't going to be a 30-minute vlog, because I'm probably cut out a load of my waffle. Still trying to find my rhythm with how I want to post on YouTube. I was trying to do what everybody else does, which is film one week and post on the Monday. I don't think I like that. I don't think that vibes with me. I don't think that's going to be what I'm going to do going forward. One other artist I follow on here who I like, she films like on a Monday and posts on a Tuesday. I quite like the thought of doing that. So I'm thinking I might do it. So I film Monday, Tuesday, and I post on a Wednesday, I think is what I might go for. But I'm just, as I have said, I'm experimenting a little bit until I find what fits and what goes with my life and this, that and the other. But anywho, thank you so much for watching. If you have made it this far, I greatly appreciate you. Leave me a comment down below and I will reply back to you. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to know more about what it's like running a small business in your 40s from somebody who really does not have a freaking clue what she's doing, please consider hitting the subscribe button and seeing where this little YouTube journey takes us. But love you all. Bye for now.